One of the biggest grudge matches in UFC history. It's finally here. Former roommates, former friends turned foes. Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal. You gotta love both guys. They both brought such freshness and entertainment to the sport in the past couple of years. So all you can do is pay your respect to them. But for anyone who's counting out Masvidal, and for anyone who's counting out Colby Covington, this fight is way closer than you think. Not just because of the skill sets. If you want to talk about the skill sets, yes, obviously Colby got without a doubt, he's got the advantage with the wrestling. But above everything, after all, this fight is mental. It's all about the psychology of the mindset of the fighter in this fight. Let's talk about Colby Covington first. What makes Colby Covington so special? One, he's a southpaw. And not only he's a southpaw, but he's just like Dustin Poirier. He's a southpaw with the lead hand being the power hand. So Colby Covington's right hand is his powerful hand, which is why we saw him land that vicious lead right uppercut to Kamaru Usman's chin at will, and he's hurt Usman countless times in the first and second fight with that exact same shot. And even though both fights were 2 years apart, but Kamaru Usman just couldn't adapt and couldn't adjust to timing or escaping that powerful weapon of Colby's, which is him being a southpaw and using his lead hand as a power hand. And even when it comes to Dustin Poirier, you see Dustin Poirier hurting a lot of guys with that lead hand. Most of his finishes are actually with his lead hand, not with his left hand, which makes it even 10 times trickier for the opponent. And Colby Covington also, his wrestling is absolutely phenomenal. Now, that being said, and by the way, he's extremely underrated when it comes to striking, MMA striking, not necessarily boxing, like pure boxing, but when it comes to mixing things up, Colby Covington is pound for pound, make no mistake. But let's talk about his former roommate, the superstar, sweet Jesus, game bred Jorge Masvidal. The man is an absolute anomaly. Who does things like Masvidal? That 5-second knockout, turning your career around at 36 years old. That tells you one thing about Jorge Masvidal. Despite all his skills, put all the skills to the side, his desire and his will to win and better the future of himself and his surroundings, that speaks volumes about the character of Jorge Masvidal. So one thing we know for sure, you can never count Masvidal out in any fight, and especially in this fight. Let me tell you why. It's almost like Masvidal got that advantage of the big brother when it comes to this fight. He's the one who brought Colby up. He's the one who showed Colby around Florida when Colby moved to Florida from Oregon. He's the one who made Colby sleep on his couch for 10 months. He's the one who fed Colby Covington for almost a year. He was the one who had Colby Covington's back for the longest. So one thing we do know, when it comes to the mindset in this fight, when it comes to the psychology of both gentlemen, without a doubt, Jorge Masvidal got the upper hand. But when it comes to the skills, Colby got the upper hand, which is why this fight is so fascinating. This is, without a doubt, a 50-50 matchup. When I saw the odds, Masvidal was almost a 4-1 underdog, which is absolutely unbelievable when you think about all those things that I'm mentioning right now. And yes, Masvidal isn't a wrestler, but without a doubt, he's one of the hardest guys to take down in the sport currently. And Kamaru Usman would tell you that, without a doubt, which is why Kamaru Usman held Masvidal to the fence in that first fight for almost 20 minutes. It's because he just couldn't take him down at will. He's so scrappy. One word that comes to mind when it comes to describing the style of Jorge Masvidal, he's just so scrappy. He knows how to maneuver around any position. He knows he knows how to reverse positions. He knows how to scramble. He got strong hips when it comes to stuffing the takedown. When it comes to reversing a lot of attacks from many types of wrestlers, whether they're southpaw or orthodox. And another thing that makes Jorge Masvidal a phenomenal fighter is the fact that Masvidal is a switch hitter. He knocked out Cowboy Cerrone in that orthodox stance. He knocked out Darren Till in that southpaw stance. He's got elbow knockouts. He's got clinch knockouts. He's got southpaw orthodox knockouts. He's got knockouts by kicks. The man can do it all. The man is so diverse. He's so creative. And he's one of the best boxers in the UFC without a doubt. But one thing about this fight, when it comes to the striking aspect, Colby Covington knows, believe it or not, how to use his jab way better than Jorge Masvidal. And it all starts with the jab. But when you're talking about an explosive fighter like Masvidal, you can make that exception, which is why we don't really see him use his jab. But if he wants to win this fight, he's either going to catch Colby with something crazy early, or he needs to start working behind his jab. Or when it comes to the MMA fighters, when you're not talking about boxing, one thing similar to the jab, which is going to be also a rangefinder, is that front kick. And Conor McGregor used to use that front kick beautifully to measure the range before countering or going on the front foot to finish his opponents. I cannot wait for this fight. It's actually here. It's almost like we've been waiting for this fight for years. And the fact that it's happening this weekend speaks a lot about the matchmakers in the UFC. Yes, you can talk about fighter pay. Yes, you can talk about this and that. But one thing that you can never say about the UFC is that they do favorable matchups and stuff. The best always fight the best. And their number one priority is you and me, the consumer. Credit to Jorge Masvidal, credit to Colby Covington. I cannot wait for this fight. Who knows what's going to happen? This is a 50-50 matchup. But most importantly, credit to the UFC for putting on such fascinating matchup.